Hello and welcome to another episode of the Top Dogs podcast here on the Field of 68 Media Network. My name is Rob Doster, and I am currently sitting in a hotel room in Charlotte, North Carolina. We talked about that a little bit last night, but it is 2 o'clock in the morning, and I just finished watching the film on UConn's win over Villanova in the quarterfinals of the Big East tournament. It was a 73-56 win. Got a lot of thoughts. Got a lot of thoughts on how that game kind of played out. It's been a long night here in Charlotte. It was an unreal day of college basketball, not just in the Garden. I mean the game between DePaul and Creighton kind of speaks for itself, right? And Marquette Xavier was unbelievable. Down here in Charlotte, we had a buzzer beater between Louisville and Stanford. Clemson found a way to win. Cooper Flag got hurt, which ended up being the biggest story of the day. So we have Duke, North Carolina, and then Clemson, Louisville tomorrow. You guys up there that are going to be in Madison Square Garden are going to be able to get a chance to see UConn play Creighton and St. John's play Marquette. We have Illinois, Maryland. We have BYU, Houston, Missouri, Florida, Purdue, Michigan, Kentucky, Alabama, Arizona, Texas Tech, Boise State, New Mexico, Utah State, Colorado State. This has a chance to go down as one of the best nights. All of the games I just mentioned, by the way, are between 6:30 and midnight. Everyone except Utah State and Colorado State tips between 6:30 and 9:30. This has a chance to be one of the greatest nights that we've seen in college basketball in a long, long time, and I am so fired up for it. And a large part of that is because UConn has a chance to be able to, play their way into a Big East tournament title game, which obviously would be a hell of a lot of fun for me to watch, most likely on a laptop while I am at the Spectrum Center here in Charlotte. I'm going to keep saying that because I am kind of disappointed that I wasn't able to make it up to the Big East tournament. But this has been a lot of fun down here. Let's start with this for UConn. I watched most of the first half because, if I'm being frank, the first half of Clemson and SMU was not the most thrilling half of basketball I've ever seen. So I was able to see most of the first half kind of live. I have it set up so I get three games going on my laptop while I'm watching the games in person. But I thought I didn't realize looking at the score at the end how long that game was kind of in limbo and how long it took for UConn to really kind of take control of it. It was tied at 51 with about 6 minutes left in that game before Karaban sparked a 15-3 run that turned it from something that was a real sweat into a little bit of a margin of victory that will help UConn's metrics moving forward and help, honestly, help Xavier try to find a way into the NCAA tournament by adding another quad-one win to their resume. I thought that this was one of the best all-around games that we've seen from Alex Karaban this season. He was really good on the defensive end. He was the one tasked with having to guard Eric Dixon at the start. And I'll get into kind of what they did defensively in a little bit, but I thought that he was fantastic. Maybe the best half of basketball that he's played for UConn this season. In the second half, he had three big threes. Two of them in that last 15-3 run where he ran off a screen and just absolutely buried it. And he had two really nice assists. He finished with 18 points, 9 boards, 6 assists, a block, and a steal. But his ability to run off those screens and be that threat as a shooter is something that UConn has really missed for a big portion of this season. And seeing him be able to kind of step into that role and gain a little bit of that confidence back is not something that goes unappreciated by me when I'm sitting here watching these things and watching it on film. The first pass that he had, it was off of the offensive rebound when Jalen Stewart missed the dunk. When he was able to thread the needle to Sampson was really nice. And then even better, he came off that curl and hit Sampson on the slip with a little pocket pass, and that was, oh man, he is a very very good passer and a very good uh, reader of the game when he kind of comes off of an off ball screen, and seeing him be able to kind of step into that a little bit and make some plays coming off of those pin downs today was really big, I think, for UConn moving forward. And I'm not just saying that, like, this is not just lip service. I really do believe that getting him going to the point where he is a guy that is a threat, like the best situation for Alex Karaban, you don't want him being a guy that has to get 26, 27, 28. That's not, you're not going to be at your best when you're asking him to do that. When he's the guy that gets you 18 points, you run him off of screens and he knocks a couple down. He gets you 8 or 9 rebounds. He makes some plays defensively. He is able to facilitate enough to create shots for other people. That is when he's at his best. And what we saw tonight was Alex Karaban at his very, very best, especially in the second half. And when you move the biggest thing, I've said this before, when you move him down the scouting report, that's where he can really start to thrive, because when he is the guy that you want going one-on-one or creating advantages that way, or coming off of off of some of the DHOs and having to make a play off the bounce, that's not when he's at his best. It's catch and make a decision, right? It's catch and shoot. It's catch and pocket pass. It's catch and swing. It is the really quick ball moving stuff that he is at his best. And there was an example of that later with Aid Mahaney that I really want to get to, because I think that was a really, really significant moment that was underappreciated in this game. UConn's defense is what ended up winning this, right? They gave up, the score was it was 45-40 with 11 minutes left after Wooga Poplar got that Duncan transition, and UConn just absolutely shut up the water after that. I thought Wooga, he went nuts for a while. He's a good player. He's capable of doing that. They made him live with tough twos, and I think that's what you want to try to do with him. And he's damn good, man. There's going to be nights where he's able to do what he did for the first 25 minutes tonight. Just kind of, get to those mid-range spots, elevate up, and make shots over people. And there's stuff that he does that is borderline unguardable. And when he's making those, sometimes you just got to tip your cap and live with it. What you want to do, though, is force him to live and survive while making those tough twos, because it's not a sustainable way to be able to win. And it kind of caught up with Villanova a little bit at the end. So I'm not so worried about that. I thought the game plan dealing with Dixon was incredible, and it was smart. It was very similar to what UConn did when they played at Villanova earlier this year. Instead of having Jalen Stewart on him, it was Alex Karaban that was guarding Eric Dixon, and he was face guarding him. He was really, really going over every single screen, especially the flare screens that they would set for Eric Dixon. He was trying to do everything that he could when they were setting those screens to be able to force him to have to go towards the basket instead of being able to just kind of flare and knock down a three. That's part of why he's so dangerous is big guys have to guard him, and big guys aren't used to having to chase people off of flare screens. So I thought that was a nice, really little wrinkle in the coaching that we saw from Dan Hurley and his staff tonight. Dixon finished 2 for 15 from the floor, just 8 points. Again, a really smart game plan. Anytime that he was involved in the screen, Dixon was, UConn switched it. There were a lot of times where Solo Ball ended up guarding him, and where Hassan Diarra ended up on him. And what would happen is they would try to wedge him out, make him catch the ball like 16, 17 feet away from the basket. And then as soon as he started backing people down, you got the double coming from whoever was guarding Villanova's 5-man. And then they would just get into scramble and kind of play out of that and try to make it work. And it was really, really effective, because Villanova didn't really know what to do when they weren't able to get those post steals for Eric Dixon. So smart game plan. I thought it worked out really, really well. Probably a best case scenario for how that kind of played out. But it's good to see UConn step up in a game like this, and Alex play well, and the defense play well, and have that be the two things that win you the game. Because we've seen Solo go nuts and we've seen Liam go nuts. It's nice to see the things that are going to give you a higher floor Solo and Liam going bonkers is what gives you a ceiling. Um, Alex playing well, UConn playing defense, that's what gives you a high floor. And it was nice to see them kind of get that going a little bit. Again, it's been better than, in the last 3 or 4 weeks, but it was nice to see them continuing to do that in this game. I thought Aiden Mahaney actually made a huge difference in this game, and it kind of went under recognized. They didn't really talk about it as much on the broadcast as I expect. Well, it's what I expected, given that it was Gus Johnson. But I thought that more would have been made out of what he did, and that lefty runner that he made off the glass that tied it at 46 was a ridiculous shot, a ridiculously tough shot, and one of those ones that you're only going to make like if you are just absolutely flooded with confidence. Getting to your left hand over a defender that high in the air off of the glass, it's the degree of difficulty on that shot is probably higher than I think a lot of people realize, and it was good to see Aiden get that. I thought there was a huge moment in the first half, a massive moment in the first half that, again, I don't know how much I wasn't really on social when this was happening, but I don't know how many people noticed this, right? Aiden missed a three with about 5 minutes left, and you could see him kind of hang his head the moment that the shot bounced off the rim. You could tell that he was a little bit disappointed and frustrated, and then you could see the confidence going away. And in the very next possession, the ball gets swung to him. He tries to drive baseline. He spins back to the middle. He actually gets to the paint and jump stops and tries to dump the ball off to Terrace Reed, who was sealing against Boachi. And the pass gets stolen, and you could see his face go down and his head go down, and you could see him just get frustrated in that moment about how that play went out. And as soon as that ball was turned over, you could see Hurley turn, start to look down the bench, point at someone, go like this, and it was solo ball, and he was sending him to go check in for Aiden Mahaney. But there was no whistle for about 2 minutes, and Aiden made a play on the defensive end, got a stop. They came down the other end, and nothing happened, and they came down again, and then eventually got to the point where UConn got a ball in transition, and it ended up getting kicked out to Karaban, who, without even a second thought, caught it, swung it to Aiden Mahaney in the corner, and he switched to three. And he's running back on D, and I think that led to a Villanova timeout. And he didn't end up getting pulled after all. They changed who they were going to sub, and they kept him in. And then after the timeout, Mahaney picked somebody's pocket and went in and made a layup. And then he finished with 7 points and 3 assists in 16 minutes. And overall, I thought that was one of the better games that he's played, on the back of a Seton Hall game where I actually thought that he played pretty well. And that version of Aiden Mahaney right there, that is what UConn needs. That is I don't want to like a difference maker or a game that feels too strong, but that is something that, again, can raise the floor of what this UConn team can be, because suddenly you have another guy that can handle the ball if he's confident. Suddenly you have another guy that is able to make a play off the bounce if he's confident. Suddenly you have another guy that can provide, some of the ability to get into the lane and make a decision and make a pass, and that will matter when UConn is playing Creighton. And so this version of Aiden, if you can get 16 minutes of that, knowing that he's going to get abused defensively, it is what it is, and live with it, then I think that's something that you take if you're Dan Hurley, and that's something that makes UConn a better basketball team. College basketball fans, are you ready to take your hoops game to a new level? Whether you're a seasoned bettor or just trying to win your March Madness office pool, Rhythm is here to give you the edge this season. With data-driven predictions for every single college basketball game left on the schedule, Rhythm helps you maximize your bets. And as March Madness kicks off, Rhythm's insights will help you spot those plucky Cinderellas that you know are going to shake up the NCAA tournament. But that's not all. When Selection Sunday rolls around, let Rhythm's AI-powered bracket generator do the heavy lifting for you. This is the same AI tool that performed 35% better than the average ESPN bracket last year. And here's the best part. Rhythm pairs perfectly with our Field of 68 expert analysis, giving you the 1-2 punch that you need for the rest of the college basketball season. So don't wait. Download Rhythm today and get ready to see college basketball and your betting results in a whole new light. If you haven't heard by now, we have partnered with BetMGM for this season. We'll be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we'll have special offers for the listeners and the viewers of the Field of 68. Bet insurance tokens, odds boosts, and what I love, a nice parlay boost or two here or there. Be sure to keep your eye out in the app for the Field of 68 specials that we'll be running throughout the season as well. So go download the BetMGM app to sign up today. As teams are fighting to get off the bubble and into the Field of 68, I got a beverage for you that's been off the bubble since day one. Dad Water. No bubbles, no fizz, just a smooth, refreshing canned cocktail unlike anything else on the market today. If you're tired of the same old beers and seltzers on game day, crack open something different. Dad Water is made with tequila, water, and natural flavors. Nothing artificial, no BS. It's 100 calories, zero sugar, zero carbs, gluten-free, so if you're on a diet like me, you're good to go. Dad Water is also an Indiana brand. College Hoops is in its DNA, and they want you to enjoy a great lineup of products all tournament long. Dad Water is the ultimate game time drink with no bubbles. It just drinks like water. Clean, smooth, refreshing, and without those burps. So take it from me, this is the easiest drinking adult beverage I've ever had. Dad Water is now available at Target, Total Wine and Liquor, and Meijer, as well as your favorite local liquor stores. Or you can order online at drinkdadwater.com. Dad Water, tequila, water, natural flavor. Now is your chance to prove you're smarter than the Field of 68. We're hosting a Survivor contest with our partner Splash Sports. There's a $25 entry fee, a 25 entry max in the contest, and more than 1,700 spots available, which means there's a $40,000 max prize for the winner. Survivor is the future of March Madness. Each day you pick a team to win. If they win, you advance. We'll also be running a free to enter bracket contest as well as a second chance Survivor in the Sweet 16. So prove you know more ball than the Field of 68 on Splash Sports. I want my home to feel like my home. So whether I'm looking for big furniture, just a small piece for my place, or maybe some storage solutions for the basement or the garage, the answer is Wayfair. Seriously, I needed a new patio set and fire pit for my backyard. I bought it on Wayfair. It looks great on our deck, and it gives me an excuse to fire up the smoker, invite some friends over, crack a couple beers. Just last week, I bought a new chair for my office, someplace comfortable to sit while the madness takes up the 4 screens in front of me. I got it on Wayfair, clicked a few buttons. A couple days later, it showed up at my front door. They even offered to help set it up for you. Digging through online stores can be intimidating. Trust me, I know. It can be hard to find what you're looking for in your price range, but not on Wayfair. They have great options, even if you are balling on a budget like me. Wayfair has every style for every home, including mine and yours. So head to wayfair.com and shop everything home. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. All right, on to Creighton. Creighton in the semifinals of the Big East tournament. Going to be the night game in Madison Square Garden. I believe that is a 9:30 tip, if I am not mistaken. No, I'm sorry, it's a 9 o'clock tip. There isn't much better than a Garden that is going to be packed when you have Marquette, St. John's, UConn, and Creighton playing there. And I think we all know what Creighton wants to do at this point, right? Defensively, they are going to play that deep drop. They're going to go over every single one of the screens that UConn sets. They are not going to let UConn get off threes. They're going to try to funnel them into the paint, and they are going to basically say, we will allow you to play in those 2-on-1 situations and bet on Ryan Kalkbrenner being able to win in that kind of scenario. And it worked the first time that these two teams played in stores because Liam McNeely was not healthy. And then when they played in Omaha, Liam McNeely went for 38 points, 10 boards, hit 5 threes, and UConn beat the Blue Jays in Omaha. Just the second time they've beaten Creighton. I believe that's the stat since Creighton joined the Big East. I think this is going to be a massive game for specifically Liam McNeely, but also Alex Karaban, Solo Ball, and Aiden Mahaney. Those guys are going to be forced to go to curl all those DHOs, to curl all those off-ball screening actions. They're going to be forced to have to put the ball on the floor and either make short jump shots over the top of Ryan Kalkbrenner, finish around the rim when you got Ryan Kalkbrenner there, or find a way to be able to dump it off to Terrace Reed or Samson Johnson to finish at the basket. And that's not the easiest way to make a living, but it is something that UConn is going to have to do on the offensive end of the floor if they want to have any chance to be able to win this game. You know, Creighton doesn't force turnovers. They don't foul. They don't do things that are going to be risky. They are very safe. They are very controlled, and they are one of the better kind of positional defensive teams that you are going to find. They make it difficult for you to run offense is what I'm trying to get at. And part of the reason why they are lower on the efficiency numbers than you would necessarily expect is because they just don't turn the ball over at all. So, you know, I think that we know what UConn's going to have to do offensively. We know what this team does. You've seen Ryan Kalkbrenner for 4 years, so everyone knows what to expect there. I think UConn's going to have success with that tomorrow. I think they're going to be able to find ways to get those guys making plays in the lane. I think if Alex plays with the confidence that he did tonight and plays the way that he did tonight, that changes everything in this matchup because of his passing ability. And I'll be very interested to see how that kind of plays out. And I'll also be interested to see how Creighton decides to match up with them. But yeah, the big thing defensively, if you're going to allow Calc had 32 points, 9 boards, and 5 blocks, knocked down a couple of threes in the double overtime win against DePaul. And if you're going to make Brian Kalkbrenner beat you with twos, I think I'm okay with that. I'll live with him, you know, scoring in the post and finding a way to be able to win there. I think that you kind of, similar to the way in the national title game last year, UConn just kind of said, hey, look, you know what we're going to do? We're going to let you throw the ball into Zach Edey, and we are going to bet on our defense being able to beat him one-on-one and find a way to be able to outscore you when you're living off of the most efficient shot in basketball, which is a post touch. And it worked pretty well in the national championship game. The only thing I will say is there is a level of risk involved with that because UConn has 2 5 men that really enjoy fouling people. So there's some risk there. But if I'm making this game plan, I'm daring Ryan Kalkbrenner to beat me with post touches. Can't let Stephen Ashworth get hot. We know what happens when he gets hot. We know what Creighton looks like when he's not. Do not let Jemiah Neal get to his left hand. You know, don't let him create, or I'm sorry, do not let him get to his right hand, make him go to his left hand. Don't let him create and hope that Fedor Zugic does not have the kind of game that he had against DePaul tonight. But it's important to remember when UConn lost at home to Creighton, they did not have Liam McNeely available. The second time that they played, they did, and he went nuclear because Liam McNeely is precisely the kind of player that could take advantage of the way that Creighton is going to try to defend you. So I will be watching. I will have it on a screen on my laptop. Once the game is over, I will be sure to come back here, grind some tape, and win or lose, you will get another podcast for the Top Dogs tomorrow night after UConn plays Creighton. So until then, appreciate you guys listening. Please rate, subscribe, review, do everything that makes me happy as a podcaster because I am very, very tired. And every like, just say adds a penny into the buy Rob an extra shot of espresso at Starbucks when he goes to get it in the morning. So appreciate you guys doing that. Appreciate you guys listening. And it's March, baby. Best time of the year. Can't wait for it.